After being reborn, I tried to become everything Marcus disliked. He liked girls with long hair, gentle and demure. So I cut off my long, waist-length hair and went surfing, skiing, and partying all night with my friends. In my previous life, I only found out after marrying him that he had always been in love with his adoptive sister, Chloe. His mother threatened suicide to keep them apart, so he reluctantly married me. Only because I bore a slight resemblance to Chloe. After our marriage, he remained distant towards me and was constantly entangled with Chloe. I cried, I fought, and eventually, I died tragically with hatred in a car accident on my way to divorce him. Reborn, my friends asked me, bewildered, are you doing all this to get Marcus's attention? No, I'm doing it to get away from him. It was my best friend's birthday. She invited me to a party. When I stepped into the private room, it was at its liveliest. No one paid me any mind. Until I walked over to my best friend. Oh, Kara, you cut your hair? My best friend Taylor was boisterous. Her shout made everyone look over. The atmosphere fell silent. Their gazes all landed on my ear-length bob. Subtle expressions flickered across their faces. I acted as if I hadn't noticed. I smiled. Yeah, just got it cut. My stylist said this haircut really suits me. Does it look good? Looks good. Very good. Scattered voices echoed in agreement. Those who praised me simultaneously glanced, almost instinctively, in one direction. I don't think it looks good at all. The blunt dismissal cut through the compliments with startling clarity. In that direction, Chloe, looking as if she had spoken out of turn, quickly covered her mouth. Her expression was regretful. Oops, sorry, Kara, I accidentally blurted out what I was thinking. You know I'm always straightforward. You won't be mad at me, right? Before I could say anything, Marcus stood up. He repeated it to me. Indeed, it doesn't look good at all. His actions early showed he was defending her. The scene instantly grew awkward. I shrugged it off with a smile. It's fine. As long as I like it. Marcus called me outside. Outside the private room, we stood facing each other. The man's features were obscured by the dim hallway lights, but I could feel his suppressed anger in his words. Kara, who told you to suddenly cut your hair? Didn't I say I liked you with long hair? As my girlfriend, you. Marcus. I interrupted him before he could finish. Let's break up. The air froze for a moment. He frowned, just about to say something, when Chloe and Taylor's arguing voices suddenly erupted from the private room. Marcus's frown deepened. He scoffed lightly, leaving me with a curt suit yourself. Then he rushed back into the private room. Watching his retreating back, I quietly let out a breath. I had known Marcus since high school. In my first year, I broke my leg dancing and had to use crutches. Because of this, I was often bullied. They called me the cripple behind my back. They would intentionally trip me when I walked. Once, they snatched my homework, and as I cried desperately because I couldn't catch them, I met Marcus. There are specific moments when a person falls for someone. Marcus not only helped me but also protected me throughout my 3 years of high school. Even after my leg had long healed, following him became a habit. Everyone knew I liked him. He casually mentioned he liked girls with long hair, so I grew my hair long, waist length. He said, girls should be gentle and demure, so I quit the dance, stopped going skiing at the ski resort, and stopped surfing at the beach. I gave up my friendships, my hobbies, molding myself into a barely recognizable version of what he liked. Finally, my efforts were not in vain. He officially became my boyfriend and even took me to meet his family. They had adopted a girl named Chloe. When I met Chloe, she intimately hooked her arm through Marcus's. Kara is so pretty. Rather, you're lucky to have her. Hee, Kara and I even look a little alike. It was a casual remark, subtly laced with hostility, but I didn't pay it much mind. Nor did I notice Marcus's momentary stiffness. In my previous life, Marcus and I smoothly got married. But after the marriage, he remained distant towards me. It wasn't until Chloe sent me their intimate video that I learned the truth. In the video, they were brazenly doing things only a married couple would do. Chloe's provocative words were like a blood-stained knife plunged into my chest. If it weren't for my adoptive mother's disapproval, Mrs. Eleanor's position would be mine. Do you think you won just because you married him? Not necessarily. He doesn't love you at all, you're just my substitute. Shocked, I coughed up a mouthful of blood and anger. I took out my ID and went to find Marcus to get divorced. But on the way, I got into a car accident and died tragically with hatred. I never expected to open my eyes again and find myself reborn. Reborn right after we got into college. This time, I tried to become everything Marcus disliked. That barely recognizable substitute. I wouldn't be her anymore. When I returned to the private room, Chloe was crying in Marcus's arms. Marcus's face was stern as he said in a deep voice to Taylor, "Taylor, apologize to my sister." Taylor stood her ground stubbornly. "Why should I apologize to this two-faced and manipulative woman? Your sister started by badmouthing Kara, that's why I cursed at her. I'll apologize if she apologizes to Kara first." Chloe's eyes were red, and she spoke tearfully, feeling wronged. "But I was just speaking the truth, is that wrong too?" When she looked up, her eyes were brimming with tears. She looked as if she had suffered some immense grievance. Taylor, however, wouldn't humor her. "Well, then, me calling you two-faced and manipulative and saying you have a nasty mouth is also speaking the truth, so I'm not wrong either. Taylor, T. Hat's enough." Marcus roared, his tall figure stepping forward, creating a sense of intimidation. Taylor didn't back down an inch. Just then, they all saw me. A flicker of shrewdness flashed in Chloe's eyes. "Kara, you're finally here." From the people around me, I had already learned the reason for Chloe and Taylor's argument. After I left the private room, Chloe had been badmouthing me behind my back, calling me petty and mean-spirited. This was because once when Marcus and I went on a trip to the Maldives, Chloe wanted to tag along. I subtly expressed that I wanted to spend some alone time with Marcus, but seemed not to understand. She went with us anyway. On the first day, Chloe was afraid of getting sunburned and didn't want to go out, so Marcus stayed with her in the hotel playing games all day. The second day, we finally managed to persuade her to go out. But then she complained of stomach pains and nausea, so Marcus directly booked the earliest flight back. The trip I had planned and looked forward to for so long was ruined. Dissatisfied, I couldn't help but lose my temper with Chloe. Chloe cried as she explained to me. "I'm so sorry, Kara, I just wanted to get closer to you, my future sister-in-law. I didn't mean it." Marcus also came to pacify me, but he was clearly on Chloe's side. Chloe meant well. Besides, Chloe is my family. If we get married, she'll be your sister too. What's wrong with you being a bit lenient with her? Family, sister. These two words made me choose to give in once more. Because at that time I truly loved Marcus and wanted to become real family with him. For him, I was willing to abandon myself and change. For him, I was willing to sacrifice my dignity and endure humiliation. But to my surprise, Chloe remained unsatisfied with my concessions. She would talk behind my back to others. Maybe I'm sensitive, but I think Kara getting angry over such a small thing is quite petty. It gives off a mean-spirited vibe. This comment, as it happened, was overheard by Taylor. Taylor was utterly furious and ended up arguing with Chloe. Now, seeing me walk in, Chloe showed no trace of shame for being caught badmouthing someone. Instead, her face was filled with blatant confidence. "Kara, I just said it casually, you don't mind, right? Can you tell your friend to chill? She's making too big a deal out of it. Isn't she trying to stir up trouble between us?" She looked at Taylor triumphantly. She was certain I would, as always, choose to yield to please Marcus. To appease Marcus and make peace. Even turn against my friend who had always defended me and stood up for me. However, she was destined for disappointment. I looked her in the eyes and said, slowly and seriously, "I mind a lot." At these words, everyone paused for a moment in surprise. Including. Her eyes widened slightly. She stared at me without blinking. I smiled at her. Chloe still seemed somewhat disbelieving. She twitched the corners of her lips. "Kara, what did you just say?" "I said I mind a lot. Talking about me behind my back, is that your upbringing?" Chloe's face instantly turned crimson. She pitifully looked up at Marcus. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to fall. Marcus's handsome features also clouded with anger. But then, for some reason, he just said coldly, "It's just because you changed your hairstyle and I said it didn't look good a couple of times, now you're throwing a tantrum. But don't go too far. Calm down and come find me in a few days." With that, he took Chloe and left. I felt like laughing. In his eyes, my breaking up with him, my arguing with Chloe, were all just me throwing a tantrum. He never once thought I was serious. After they left, Taylor looked at me with some regret. "I'm so sorry, Kara. I made Marcus angry at you. Otherwise, I'll go apologize to Chloe. I'll take whatever beating or scolding they dish out." Taylor's eyes showed genuine concern. She knew how important Marcus was to me. I could do anything or him. But that was in the past. I pulled her back. "No need to go. Marcus and I have already broken up." Taylor's eyes widened. "Huh? Really?" "Yes, really." I suddenly hugged Taylor gently. My chin rested on her soft shoulder, and I felt a little like crying. Taylor and I had known each other since childhood. When she was little, she lost all her hair from medication due to illness and was often ridiculed at school. I, being the blunt type, would beat up anyone who dared to laugh at her. Taylor was very reliant on me, and we had shared interests. We both loved sports like skiing and surfing. Gradually, we became very good friends. But when I met Marcus, everything changed. I grew out my hair, becoming gentle and demure. I stopped surfing, skiing, and dancing. My friends, one by one, drifted away because of my changes. Only remained. No words were needed for our friendship. Taylor, thank you for not giving up on me. Taylor, instead, looked a little embarrassed. She theatrically patted my shoulder. It's just a breakup, don't worry. There are plenty of good men in this world. I'll find you an even better one. I didn't take Taylor's words to heart. The first thing I did when I got back to school was quit the art and join the dance. When I submitted the paper withdrawal form to the teacher in charge, other club members were there. Chloe was among them. One member asked, "Why is Kara quitting the club? Doesn't she know you lose credits for quitting?" Another person replied, "Why else?" She desperately wanted to imitate Chloe but ended up being suppressed by her instead, so she lost it. That person was Chloe's roommate, naturally speaking up for Chloe. Chloe's face showed triumph, but it wasn't a complete triumph. I knew she didn't want me to quit. Because this was her comfort zone. It was a place where she could confidently surpass me. Chloe had been painting since elementary school and was quite good. I, however, was an amateur. When I was with Marcus, he said a girl who could paint would seem elegant and refined. So I gave up my other hobbies, and specifically learned to paint. But after all, I had only been studying for a short time. Compared to Chloe, who had years of experience, I naturally couldn't measure up in any aspect. College clubs were a very realistic environment, especially since many activities were tied to credits. As an excellent performer in the club, Chloe could naturally arrange many things. For example, once she asked me to get some drawing paper, and I ended up getting accidentally splashed with paint. Photos of me, completely disheveled, were posted on the campus social media, becoming everyone's laughingstock. Now that I was leaving the art, she was naturally unwilling. She couldn't help but ask me, "Are you quitting the art?" "Does no? What's it to him?" I retorted. Chloe hadn't expected me to be so impolite. Nor did I give her a chance to retort. I picked up the teacher's approval form and walked out confidently. The next few days were unusually peaceful for me. I focused on my own matters, no longer thinking about anything else. Occasionally, I would meet up with Taylor and a few other friends. One evening, I suddenly received a call from Marcus. His tone carried a hint of pitifulness. "Kara, I have a stomachache. Could you bring me some medicine?" Marcus had a sensitive stomach. He often forgot to take his medicine when he had stomach pains and would call me to bring it to him. I said coldly, "Marcus, have you forgotten that we've broken up?" Marcus was silent for a while. He seemed helpless. "You've made your point. I've given you an out, can you please stop dwelling on it?" I was wrong that day. I shouldn't have said you looked bad in front of everyone. If you're still sulking, it's been long enough. I apologize to you. His condescending and patronizing tone made it sound as if his apology to me was some incredibly rare event. I wasn't angry. Perhaps when you're utterly disappointed in someone, their words and actions no longer provoke any reaction in you. "Marcus, I broke up with you. I'm serious." With that, I didn't wait for his reaction. I hung up the phone. I sat quietly by myself for a while, and let out a soft sigh. Perhaps my serious attitude finally made Marcus realize we had broken up. He didn't contact me again. It was Taylor, instead, who mysteriously invited me out, saying she had a surprise for me. She even specifically instructed me to put on makeup and wear a nice dress. I chose a Ralph dress. When I arrived, I saw Taylor waving cheerfully at me. Someone else was standing beside her. "Julian." I hurried over to greet him. At the same time, I eyed Taylor, wanting to ask what was going on, and why Julian was here. Julian was an upperclassman in our department and a campus celebrity. He was not only handsome and academically brilliant but also came from a good family. He garnered countless fans and admirers at school. However, I heard he was generally reserved and didn't interact much with people. I wondered why he was here with Taylor. "Is this your boyfriend?" I pulled Taylor aside and whispered to her. Taylor's face was serious. "No, this is your boyfriend." "Me?" Seeing my bewildered expression, Taylor giggled and explained the situation. "Remember how I said I'd find you a better man? So I posted on social media, put out a matchmaking post with your picture, saying interested parties, contact me, and then Julian contacted me. As for why I have Julian's contact info, last time during our class's academic presentation, I had a question for him, so I just added him then. That's not the point. The point is, today is your setup date, so do well, I'm rooting for you. Me. Taylor, that terrible matchmaker. No matter how much I accused her with my eyes, Taylor pretended not to see. She gave us 2 amusement park tickets, then greeted Julian and walked away without looking back. I was mortified with embarrassment. Julian seemed to sense it. He handed me a bottle of water and chuckled softly, "Don't be too nervous. Just think of it as hanging out with a friend. Have you been here before?" His attitude was very natural. Like him, easygoing and gentle. I slowly relaxed. I guess Julian might have something to talk to me about. That's why he conveniently got Taylor to set up this meeting. Otherwise, with his popularity and family background, what kind of girlfriend couldn't he find? Why would he need to come on a setup date with me? Thinking this, I relaxed even more. I picked out the rides I liked, waiting for Julian to speak. Julian was very composed. And also very thoughtful. I preferred thrill rides. But wearing a dress, some of them weren't very convenient. Julian took off his jacket and placed it over my lap. This reminded me that I had been to the amusement park with Marcus before. When I wanted to go on these rides, he would frown and scold me. "How dangerous these are. You're wearing a dress, it's not convenient, so don't go." People truly are so different. As I thought of Marcus, in reality, I seemed to genuinely hear Marcus's voice. I turned my head and saw Chloe with her arm linked through Marcus's. At that exact moment, they also happened to look my way. Me. Marcus's face changed when he saw me. Then, seeing Julian behind me, he frowned and walked towards me. "Kara, what are you doing here?" he demanded, his tone suppressed, yet filled with the self-righteousness of someone catching a cheat. For a moment, I didn't know how to answer. A date. Julian, behind me, had already spoken. "And you are? Can I help you?" Julian stepped forward. He suddenly intertwined his fingers with mine. I was startled but didn't pull away. His hand was large and warm. My attention involuntarily shifted to it, and I couldn't even bother with Marcus. Marcus's eyes reddened instantly. He glared at me, raising his voice. "We broke up less than a month ago, and you've already found another man?" I looked at him strangely. "What else? Am I supposed to remain chaste for you?" I was focused solely on retorting to Marcus. I didn't realize that my words were indirectly admitting my relationship with Julian. Now, as the realization hit me, my body stiffened. I secretly glanced at Julian. But I saw the corners of his lips quirk upwards, showing no sign of being offended. Just then, Chloe also ran over. Seeing the 3 of us in such sharp opposition, a complex expression flashed in her eyes. She tried to persuade Marcus, "Marcus, let's go back." Marcus ignored her. He seemed to have been provoked. He looked at our clasped hands, then at our expressions. Suddenly, he anxiously said, "Impossible. You're lying to me, aren't you?" He seemed to be trying to confirm, or perhaps convince himself. "You weren't even close with Julian before, how could you be dating so quickly? You must have just happened to be out, saw me, and pretended to be dating, right?" I felt guilty. He had actually guessed correctly. But my momentum couldn't falter. I loudly declared, "Who says? He is my boyfriend." Marcus's face turned ashen. Julian's face remained expressionless. He simply put an arm around my shoulder and said calmly, "Let's go." No longer bothering with them. After getting away from Marcus and Chloe, I let go of Julian's hand. I apologized to him. "I'm sorry, Julian. I was flustered and just blurted out that you were my boyfriend. If it causes any trouble for you later, I'll definitely clarify it." I was very sincere. After all, I didn't know if Marcus and Chloe would spread the word about what happened today. Julian was very popular at school. It wouldn't be good if it caused unnecessary misunderstandings. Thinking this, I felt even more uneasy. But unexpectedly, Julian suddenly bent down, meeting my gaze directly. He smiled faintly. "You don't need to apologize. I actually asked you out with the intention of dating you, so I'm happy you told others I'm your boyfriend." I was a little bewildered. Huh? I remembered what Taylor had said. She posted a matchmaking post on social media, and Julian contacted her. So didn't have something to tell me. He really just came on a setup date? But why? Julian looked into my eyes. He chuckled softly. "You might have forgotten, but we've met before, and I've liked you for a very long time." When? When was that? I was embarrassed. I really had forgotten. Julian didn't elaborate. He simply asked me, "In that case, would you be willing to give us a try?" His gaze was very sincere. and contained a hint of nervousness and apprehension. I was involuntarily captivated by that look. But I still refused him. For no other reason than this: in my previous life, I had been hurt too deeply by Marcus. I couldn't easily start another intimate relationship. Julian didn't get angry when he was rejected. He just smiled gently. It's okay. Marcus was distracted. After leaving the amusement park, he fell into a strange state: anger, pain, panic, denial, regret. He didn't even hear Chloe talking to him. His mind was entirely consumed by Kara. To be honest, he hadn't liked Kara at first. His initial approach to her was simply to find a girlfriend who was well-matched in social standing and utterly devoted to him. He truly loved Chloe. But he and Chloe were meant to be, but cannot be together. Even without a blood relation, siblings were still siblings. His parents would never agree. Kara, on the other hand, was beautiful and came from a good family. And her admiration for him was unconcealed. Too passionate, too dazzling. This was unlike Chloe. Chloe had always been gentle and quiet. He only mentioned it once to Kara, and Kara actually willingly changed for him. She grew out her hair for him, gave up her original interests and hobbies for him, and distanced herself from her old friends for him. She was madly in love with him. He enjoyed this adoration. But one day, things suddenly changed. She suddenly cut her short hair and broke up with him. Marcus thought she was just sulking. Because after she cut her hair, Chloe said she didn't look good in front of everyone. To defend Chloe, Marcus also said she didn't look good. Actually, it looked really good. It was striking. But the words were out, so that was that. He thought Kara wouldn't mind. There had been many situations like this before, and she had never minded. Perhaps today made her lose face. She was actually making a fuss about breaking up. Honestly, Marcus's heart clenched for a moment. But then he quickly thought, how could it be? Kara loved him so much. She must be playing hard to get. Marcus didn't take it seriously. She would definitely regret it. That party ended unhappily. Marcus didn't actively contact Kara. He waited for her to come begging for him back. Not on the first day. Not on the second day. A whole week went by, and still nothing. Marcus grew anxious. When drinking with friends, they would tease him, how come we haven't seen your girlfriend? You didn't really break up, did you? Marcus called Kara first, for the first time. Fine, I'll give her an out. He told Kara he had a stomachache and wanted her to bring him some medicine. He had a stomach problem, and every time he conveniently forgot his medicine, he'd have Kara bring it to him. His friends' envious glances made him feel vain. Kara's gentle advice and scolding always melted his heart. Especially seeing Kara's sadness, her heartache, and her concern for him, a strange sweetness would surge within him. This time, when he called, he expected Kara to worry about him as before. But all he heard in her voice was coldness. Marcus, I broke up with you. I'm serious. Marcus was at a loss for words. After his bewilderment, anger welled up within him. This time, he was the one sulking. Fine, so it's a breakup, we'll see who regrets it more. He comforted himself. Kara loves me so much, how could she willingly separate from me? And even if we separate, it's fine, Chloe is always jealous, and she's the one I truly like anyway. Despite saying this, he would still secretly check Kara's social media every day, looking at her accounts, even trying to get updates on her from her friends. He told himself he wasn't curious about her, but wanted to see her suffering and dejected after the breakup. That day, he accidentally overheard that Taylor had bought 2 amusement park tickets. Was going to the amusement park with Taylor? A thought suddenly occurred to him. Go see her, have a chance encounter, perhaps I could apologize then. He also bought a ticket for the same day. He had planned to go alone. However, Chloe also found out about his ticket. She was delighted. Marcus, are you taking me to play? Looking at her pleasing and acting coy expression, he ultimately couldn't bring himself to refuse. He just nodded in agreement, then felt a little regret. However, something even more regrettable happened. When he saw another man standing next to Kara. It was as if a fire had consumed all his reason, pride, and composure. He rushed over without thinking, questioning her, doubting her. But in Kara's eyes, there was no trace of lingering affection for him. No sadness or pain either. Not even anger. Only calm, only disdain. Marcus was truly panicked. He genuinely felt a pang of heartache. Even after she and Julian walked away, he kept thinking, is it really over like this? Can I really let go so calmly? No, absolutely not. I didn't know what Marcus was thinking, because I was going to a banquet. When we parted that day, Julian told me his mother's birthday was coming up, and she was holding a birthday banquet, inviting me to attend. I'll also invite other classmates from school, so don't feel pressured, even if you just see me as a regular friend. I thought about it and agreed. As expected, many people attended the banquet. The family was a wealthy family, and many people were eager to curry favor. I even saw Marcus's family. Mrs. Eleanor saw me too. She walked towards me. Marcus and Chloe followed behind her. Kara, why haven't you come to visit recently? I was just thinking about you the other day. Mrs. Eleanor was a very strict person, but she was always kind to me. In my previous life, she liked me very much, otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to Marcus and me being together. After I became official, I often visited their home. But that was in the past. Auntie, Marcus and I have broken up. As I said this, I glanced at Marcus. It seemed he hadn't told his mother yet. A look of surprise appeared on Mrs. Eleanor's face. Her expression suddenly turned very displeased. Turning to Marcus, she sternly asked, "What is going on?" Marcus stammered for a long moment before slowly saying, "It's my fault. I will try my best to get Kara's forgiveness." Chloe, standing nearby, saw Marcus being scolded and couldn't help but say, "Actually, it's not entirely Marcus's fault, he." However, before she could finish, Mrs. Eleanor slapped her. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking." Mrs. Eleanor knew about Marcus and Chloe's affair. It was because of her disapproval that Chloe and Marcus hadn't gotten together. Mrs. Eleanor turned and took my hand, saying gently, "Kara, Marcus made you angry. I'll talk to him when we get home. Please give him another chance. I truly want you to be my daughter-in-law." As she finished speaking, Marcus's eyes showed a hopeful expression. Chloe, however, looked at me with resentment. Just as I was about to refuse, a voice suddenly came from beside me. "Kara, what are you doing here? I've been looking for you." I turned my head. It was Julian. He was wearing a black suit today, looking elegant and handsome. He came to my side and politely greeted Mrs. Eleanor and the others. Then, he somewhat intimately extended his hand to me. "May I have the honor of this dance?" I glanced at Mrs. Eleanor and the others, who looked a bit awkward. I placed my hand in his. After bidding Mrs. Eleanor farewell, I allowed Julian to lead me away by the hand. Once they were out of sight, I whispered to Julian, "Thank you for helping me out, Julian." Julian chuckled softly. "Yes, helping you out is true, and I truly wanted to dance with you too." Me. In the end, I did dance with him. An elegant waltz, with a light rhythm and a melodious tune. As it was nearing its end, he leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Kara, don't give Marcus another chance. You're so wonderful, he doesn't deserve you." My heart warmed. Tears almost fell. In my previous life, I always reflected on whether I hadn't been good enough, which was why Marcus repeatedly betrayed my feelings. After being reborn, I was no longer confused. It wasn't that I wasn't good enough, it was that Marcus didn't know how to cherish me. But thinking of the pain I endured in my past life, a pang of sadness still lingered in my heart. Now, Julian's affirmation was like a gentle breeze, soothing the bitterness in my heart. "If you don't appreciate me, there will be someone who does." After the banquet, Julian and I grew a little closer. His pursuit of me was almost undisguised. I also slowly began to try dating him. Only this time, I wasn't like when I dated Marcus, putting all my emotions into him. I wouldn't endure grievances for him, nor would I allow myself to be hurt. I believe a normal relationship should be like this, not one person blindly changing to please another, but two people sharing their love, appreciating each other, growing together. Marcus, having lost his mind for some reason, became inexplicably attentive towards me, sending me flowers and bringing me breakfast. I didn't accept any of it. I had told him countless times that I would absolutely not get back together with him, but he just seemed to refuse to believe it. "You did so much for me, how could you not love me? You're just mad at me, aren't you?" I was speechless at his stubborn SS. However, this was not the end. One day, a post suddenly appeared on the campus social media. The homepage of the post featured my photo, with two large words plastered on it. "Promiscuous woman." The post was clearly targeting me. It claimed I was leading on Marcus while flirting with Julian, and it listed various pieces of evidence, including photos of Marcus sending me things. There were also photos of Julian and me together. Initially, it wasn't a big deal, just some relationship drama at most, but was extremely popular on campus. Fueled by malicious instigators, people soon started bothering me. That day, I went to the dance studio changing room. When I opened my locker, a bloody dead mouse fell out. Taylor was also startled. She asked me what we should do. I said in a low voice, "Let's call the police." The police quickly found the culprit. It was Lily, with her hair in a bun. When she was brought before me, her face still showed surprise and fear. She probably didn't expect me to call the police directly. She had only intended to disgust me. But she didn't believe she had done anything wrong. You're the one who's loose. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. Not only are you promiscuous, but you're also petty. Taylor was so angry she wanted to hit her. I quickly pulled Taylor back. I stared directly at her. Lily looked a little guilty under my gaze. What do you want? I didn't answer her but turned to the police officer next to me. Her behavior could be considered intimidation, couldn't it? I won't accept mediation. If she can be sentenced, then let her be sentenced. Lily's face instantly went pale. As she was led away by the police, trembling, her eyes welled up. Of course, I was just scaring her. Intimidation can indeed lead to a sentence, but only in severe cases. In her situation, it would amount to an apology and a fine at most. People always have to pay for their actions. Taylor gloated beside me. This will make an example of someone. 1. It? After this, let's see who dares to cause trouble again. I glanced at her. The real mastermind is the person who posted it. Taylor said, okay, I'll find someone to look into it. I shook my head. No need. I already know who it is. It's one of those two, without a doubt. 19. I went to see Marcus first. Marcus was in the hospital these past few days, suffering from a stomach ailment. When he saw me enter, a flicker of surprise crossed his face. Kara, did you come especially to see me? I couldn't be bothered with pleasantries. I just pulled up the post and put it in front of him. Did you do this? Marcus scrutinized it, and anger and a sense of injustice gradually appeared on his face. How could you think it was me? He truly didn't know. He had been hospitalized for his stomach ailment a few days prior, and due to his discomfort, he hadn't been paying much attention to the news. He had only heard about it today. I retrieved my phone, my face expressionless. Alright, if it wasn't you, then I'm leaving. Marcus quickly grabbed my arm. His demeanor softened, and he pleaded, Kara, please don't be angry, okay? I shouldn't have talked about you in front of so many people last time. Please forgive me this once, okay? From his perspective, he was utterly confused. Everything had been fine before, yet I was breaking up with him over something as trivial as a new haircut. He truly didn't understand. That's why he kept thinking I was just throwing a tantrum. I looked at him calmly. Do you truly want to be with me, or do you just want me to continue being Chloe's substitute? He looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. He spoke, his voice dry and raspy. How did you know? I ignored him, turning to leave. But I didn't expect Marcus to chase after me so quickly. He was barefoot, looking anxious and somewhat disheveled. He anxiously grabbed my arm. Kara, I admit I used to have that idea, but I don't like Chloe anymore. I'm very sure now, you are the one I'll. Ike. I gave him a cool glance. If you truly like me, then please stop pursuing me. His face turned ashen. 20. Leaving the hospital, I went to find Chloe again. Only this time, I wasn't alone. I brought the police and a lawyer. Chloe initially denied everything. But when the police laid the evidence before her, she opened her mouth. After a long pause, she whispered, I just exaggerated the facts a bit. I didn't cause you any substantial harm, so was it really necessary to call the police? I sneered. You don't seriously think spreading malicious rumors comes without consequences, do you? Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes, and she yelled at me. It's all your fault. Marcus only had eyes for me before. You stole him away from me. You two were clearly just pretending. You have no idea how important Marcus is to me. You don't deserve him, he'll always be mine. Chloe was taken away by the police. As she was led away, her face was contorted with resentment. Forbidden love, her adoptive mother's disapproval, hidden desires, along with her jealousy and resentment towards me. These fueled her reckless madness. Seeing her like that, I suddenly had a bad feeling, though I couldn't say why. Soon, that premonition came true. 21. The news of Chloe's arrest for spreading rumors quickly spread. Although she was released shortly after, people continued to talk about her. Someone even started a dedicated post on the campus social media about it. Those who harm others will ultimately harm themselves. She eventually faced the backlash. And she experienced the power of public opinion. Because of this incident, she didn't come to school for several days. However, when she reappeared, she was driving a car. That day, I had just finished class and was about to go on a date with Julian. Suddenly, the roar of an accelerating engine erupted. Amidst everyone's screams, the car sped towards me. Look out! Julian reacted quickly, pulling me out of the way. The car brushed past the HMO. F my dress. Chloe slammed on the brakes and looked back at me. That look was full of jealousy, hatred, and madness. She had completely lost her mind. She turned the car around again and drove towards me once more. Others scattered, fleeing in every direction. The scene was chaotic. Julian pulled me away again. But then, blood spread. Chloe had hit someone else. It was Marcus. Marcus lay on the ground, covered in blood. Chloe ran out of the car, crying hysterically. Marcus! Marcus! No one saw how Marcus got there. But everyone knew he had been trying to stop Chloe. The ambulance arrived quickly. The police also arrived swiftly. Both of them were taken away. I was still shaken. Julian gently hugged me, patting my back. It's over now. 6 months later, the dust settled. Chloe was sentenced to life imprisonment. Marcus didn't die. He lost a leg permanently. And he took a leave of absence from school. Julian was also about to graduate from school and officially enter the workforce. At the graduation gala, the dance had a performance, and I was also going on stage. While I was getting ready backstage, a junior student told me someone was looking for me. I went out and saw Marcus. He sat silently in a wheelchair, gazing over, his eyes deep and etched with weariness, lost in thought. As I walked over, he smiled at me. You've had a good life this time, Kara. Having gone through a brush with death, he had been reborn. I turned and walked back. Without another word. Regardless of past lives, in this life, I didn't want any more entanglements with him. Soon, it was my turn to go on stage. My partners and I, with our shared interests, shone brightly on stage. Below the stage, Julian's focused gaze was fixed on me. Seeing him, I suddenly remembered something. My mom once had an appendectomy and was hospitalized. During her stay, I went to visit her every day. At the hospital, I met a little boy. He was secretly crying outside. To cheer him up, I danced for him. His EYes back then were just like they were today. Pure and focused. I smiled. Be your best self, and good things will naturally come to you. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.